Hi. Oh boy, do I have some real stinkers for you. They're a bit older, but as bad as you'd hope that they would be. So let's jump straight in. If our today's first game, so Catfight, the ultimate female fighting game, truly would be what the name stipulates, it would be an unfair and incredibly offensive blow to more or less half of the population, and on more than one level. But let's not focus on the title, as it's the least of Catfight's problems. It's a versus fighting game that banked on popularized by Mortal Kombat, digitized graphics and gore, and also on prepubescent teen boys buying it because of all the fighters being scantily clad young ladies. There's 10 of them in fact, and they all look different and fight in their own unique way, though saying in their own boring way would be more appropriate, as not only the specials often look as if the effects for them were made in Microsoft Paint, but also pulling any of these off despite them being one keystroke away, literally I must add, is borderline impossible because of the terrible controls, even worse response times and the opponent mauling you constantly. The time between when you actually press a key to it being registered is like an eternity with this one. But not all is bad in the bad games land. And digitized sprites, all of them in fact, are pretty good and high quality for the time that the game came out in. So, on Steals in Gaming Max, Catfight didn't look half bad, no doubt being the main driving factor for all the sales that the game got. And whatever these sales were, they were way too big for what the game deserved them to be. It should have sold exactly 0 copies. And why do I say that? Because while the sprites look nice, they only do so when not in motion. As soon as the game starts and the characters begin moving around, you'll realize that you may in fact become the first person ever to be affected by the motion sickness from sitting around completely motionless. There's maybe a handful of frames of animations for all of the moves, and more often than not it feels as if all the girls were teleporting around the screen when cycling between them. So, how would you control, let alone play and enjoy this mess? Well, simply put, it's impossible. There's nothing to like here. I mean, sure, you can try, but you'll end up with bad headache and a mild sickness at best, and a loss of your will to live at worst. And it's not worth to experience either. Trust me. Backgrounds are not great and rather blocky, clearly not on the same quality level as the girls are, and no wonder, as it's not backgrounds that 90% of the no doubt at most $20 budget was spent on. The music and sounds are awful too, serving as same annoying repetitive tracks all the time. Well, technically they're not as bad as the rest of the game is, but they're the proverbial cherry on this stale, raw and mold-covered pie. But you know what? While the rest has to remain the way it is, music can be turned off in options. So, why not to turn it off? Well, I'll tell you why. Cause doing so changes nothing. It's a dummy option for dummies who made 2 mistakes already. First, they bought this trash, and second, they decided to pollute their hard drives with it. So adding a third feels oddly fitting. But if you think that it's the end of the surprises that Catfight provides, you're mistaken, as it delivers in stinky heaps. And the best of them all is the difficulty choice for the AI. I honestly can't believe I just said best, oh my god. Anyway, you can pick either Brain Dead or Butt Kicker. Both amazingly named options and both spot on. I mean, Brain Dead has the opponent just standing there, literally brain dead and doing nothing. They don't move, they don't attack or block, just stand and wait for the punches and kicks of your chosen girl to find them and land with 100% accuracy. I don't have to tell you that it's as annoying as it is disrespectful to the potential gamer. I mean, if they at least move and occasionally try to throw a punch, even obviously missing the mark, it would look and feel much better. But no, not the case here. The second choice is not better, I'm afraid. Butt Kicker will kick your butt. The CPU will pull all kinds of moves and attacks before you even have a chance to react and turn you into a red pulp, possibly dismembered or decapitated fast. So, I suppose those difficulty choices could have been easily called yin and yang, as they're the solar opposites of each other. Well, there's a catch, my dear viewer, and it's a catch like no other. Like the one your father never had time for, and you always hoped you'd get to play together. If you ever decide to punish yourself for breathing and play this game, set it on the Butt Kicker and then do this. Crouch and do nothing else. Don't go for any specials, don't focus on moving, jumping or learning any combos, no, just sit there and kick. And you know what? If you persevere, that's how you beat the game. Yep, from the first fight to the last opponent, all of them will be won with a single crouch kick. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, is what I call platinum class video game design. And it's also a point where I stop talking about this bullshit. I mean, the next game has got to be at least a bit better, right? It is not very often that we get to see games scored a literal 1 out of 10. An unlicensed and near unplayable D18 for C64 is one. If anything, it should be called the anti-A team, or better yet, the S team, because it does in fact suck ass. I mean, even the Lemon64 website has an icon of poo next to its name, so the quality here is of truly otherworldly proportions. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. While I may have not watched the A-Team when it originally aired, because it was long time ago, I did later on, as a young and impressionable dude, and let me tell you, as stupid, silly and bad-written as it was, I loved it, with all my kid heart. Be it Baracus, Face, Hannibal and Murdoch were my heroes, and the only ones courageous enough to risk everything to do good, when others refused to help those in need. I mean, it's all laid out in the opening monologue. In 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to the Los Angeles underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, then maybe you can hire the A-Team. Now, how epic is that? You can only imagine how great a game based on such an epic group of heroes would be. It had to be at least the Game of the Year contender. Well, I'm sure that you're not blind and see that it's neither A-Team nor B-Team, and I'm honestly not sure what letter would suit here best, maybe S as in shit team, but you can't expect much more from this third than disappointment. Well, also some time wasted you could have spent doing something more productive like picking your nose, scratching your ass or burping out the entire alphabet backwards, and yet here we are. You've been following what's been happening on the screen while I was talking, and it probably dawned on you already that all you saw up to this point is all that the game has to offer. And offer is a way too big and unfitting word for it, and punish would be better. So let me rephrase that. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and it probably dawned on you already that all you saw up to this point is all that the game has to punish you with. And it will. Punish you for every minute you spend playing, with mindless, pointless and uninspired gameplay, which funny enough is not about portraying our vigilante heroes at all, but shooting them, at their disembodied heads no less. So, all you really do here is play as this tiny itty-bitty soldier slash cop slash whomever with a gun at the bottom of the screen, and you shoot upwards at aimlessly bouncing from left to right and vice versa heads of our 4 members of the S team. Each of them has 2 frames of animation, and it's not an exaggeration or figure of speech, it's exactly 2, and they cycle through them constantly while shooting at you downwards. Though it looks more like spitting than shooting. So they're spitting and you're shooting, and somehow, I've no idea how, but despite all odds and in direct conflict with the laws of physics, their spit moves faster than your bullets do. And all that exciting and fun gameplay that you can get lost in for hours on end comes in a relaxing and meditative dead silence with no music or sounds whatsoever, letting you take it all in its full glory and ponder on how your life turned out to be if you willingly sat at your C64 to play this garbage. But whatever, I'm making it worse than it is, right? After all, it can't possibly be that bad, can it? Well, it is, and what's more, it knows that it is. And it even taunts you with that when you play and lose a life. It literally tells you that you should try once more. Keyword once. Like give it one more try and then trash it. And you know what? If you're not emulating the A-Team, but have a physical copy, that's exactly what you should do. So, on 3, all of us who have this piece of garbage are gonna throw it away, okay? Mind you, I don't, so it's easy for me to propose it. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, wait, that was on 1, let me try again, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Remember when I said a few minutes ago that it's not often that we get 1 out of 10 games? Well, it appears that I lied. Here's another. Street Gang on the Amiga. A true show-off of 16-bit systems capabilities in terms of all, graphics, sounds and gameplay. It's a masterpiece that you would show off to your friends who still had their C64s or Nintendo Entertainment Systems back in the day, all to telegraph superiority of your brand new and super powerful machine to these 8-bit plebs. Well, you would, but not really and not at all. As most games released on their small systems were much better than this mistake in video game design could ever hoped to be. I mean, if you take C64s and NES's libraries, print all of the titles, put them on a corkboard and throw darts at it trying to hit a game worse than Street Gang, you'll spend a whole day throwing darts and doing little more. That's how bad Street Gang is. But before I explain in detail what's wrong with it, let me tell you what's right. Cause yeah, believe it or not, there are things I do like about it. 2 of them in fact. I know, shocker. First is the title screen, which is also a cover for this entire video. And why? Because it shows David Hasselhoff casually sitting there in the foreground, minding his own business while 3 random bad dudes behind him train yoga, tai chi or whatever the fuck else that is that they're doing there. Hard to tell, but let's try to analyze it. First of all, kudos to David for wearing cool striped socks, they really complement his too short pants and too small of a jacket. Secondly, the dude on the far left, have you ever saw anyone smoking with such a passion? I mean, look how hard he's clenching his fist. He's either the biggest fan of the smokes that there ever lived, cherishing every puff as if it was his last, or holding in a fart. Also, respect for representing the 80s like a boss with that jeans vest. It's epic. The second dude is even better. He seems to be torn between posing for the Saturday Night Fever cover and realizing he left his kettle on. He's like, do I look cool here or run home to save it from burning? Choices, choices, choices. But I do have my makeup on and it took a minute, so... yeah, but the true star of the show here has got to be the dude in the back right. He's either dubbing years before it even came to be, or, and that's more likely given his hat, he's one of those folk Russian dancers who do this odd dance where they throw one leg forwards and do this weird half kneel, half duck on the other and then change legs. I don't really know how to explain it better, but it looks exactly how it does on the title screen. Anyway, the second and last thing that I like about Street Gang is that bicep flexing during gameplay in the top left. I've no idea why it's there, there is no reason for it to be there really, it adds nothing to the gameplay, it's not utilized to symbolize weapons picked up as there's no weapons in Street Gang, it's not even HP level or anything else either, it just sits there and flexes forever. As if the graphic artist drew it in his spare time and was so proud of it that he/she decided to make sure to add it in as if it was some kind of a visual magnum opus and the highest artistic achievement ever. I mean, just look at it. What's the reason for it being there? I honestly have no clue other than it having to burn in our modern screens. So that's all that I enjoyed about Street Gang, so let me tell you what I don't like about it. In one word, everything. It sucks. It's a side view flick screen brawler that's just the worst thing ever. It plays like it looks, so terribly. The controls are floated, the main character has probably less than 10 frames of animation for all of his actions, which are 5 of only anyway, so kicking, punching, ladder climbing, jumping and running. And that last looks as if he was already carrying half-loaded underpants, desperately seeking a public toilet to release the rest. But that's okay, because all your enemies do too. I mean, the animation here is just stuff of nightmares. The attacks carry no weight and are basically one-hit, one-kill type of a move. You know, like the famous Bruce Lee's two-finger killing punch. With a difference that our hero here also mastered a two-toes version too. So any enemy that you manage to hit dies instantly, or to be more precise, explodes in a fiery blaze. Yup, you heard that right, but we're not, brown-stained pants is not all you share with the baddies, and when you die, you explode too, cause you know, game logic. And since we're on the enemies, despite what they look like, and there are quite a few distinct ones in the game I must add, they're all the same and either punch you or shoot. Nothing more, nothing less. Funny enough, most of these that shoot do so whenever they can, carrying very little if there's something or someone between the bullet and you, which ends up more often than not with them shooting their friends in their backs. But whatever, it's really the smallest of the issues Street Gang has. The best quote-unquote thing about the entire game has got to be the end boss, cause when you reach him, he just stands there, not fighting, defending himself or whatever, he's just there. So, you smack him once, and that's it, he's dead. You've completed the game, you've won in gaming, but lost in life having played this terrible joke of a game. So, a piece of advice if you let me, if you have a choice, don't play Street Gang. A bit older games today, but as terrible as always, so I hope that you liked the episode despite that. Either way, make sure to let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, hit those like and subscribe buttons below, and maybe share it too, it helps more than you know. If you didn't, then don't naturally. It was fun talking to you as usual, and I'll see you, or more accurately, talk to you very soon.